The Ancients World. Chapter 31, The City of Eclipse 2. I finish my breakfast before Haley or Marcus come down to join. I say thanks to Mom and Dad as I head upstairs so I can make some more progress. I will be reaching the City of Eclipse today and I know the first thing that I am doing. The epic trial quest, the reward from it will last me till I find something better. I hop into my gaming pod and load into Ancients World. I am in the same tent I logged off in. I get out and take a deep breath and soak in the shining sun. It is much warmer down here in the country of Vittersfall. I pack up my camp and take out my map. The walk should only be a couple of miles to Eclipse City and I know that I will be the first player to enter a new city. It really helped when Fenrir covered the majority of the trip for me. I would still be walking through the wilds if not for him giving me a ride. I follow the map all the way to the bridge that leads directly into Eclipse City. I walk up to the gate and wait in line to enter. After about 10 minutes it's my turn. The guards ask questions like why I'm here and how long I'll be staying. I give them bullshit answers so they let me in. Once I step foot past the main gate I get a system notification. You are the first player to reach a new city. Do you wish to accept the hidden reward? Y/N. I think yes and I get some EXP and a title. New title, Wanderer. Description, you find places other players have not been to yet. Plus 1500 reputation with the Adventurers Guild. This is pretty cool, getting reputation for the Adventurers Guild so early is great for me. I then hear a system announcement as I walk down the streets of Eclipse City. Worldwide announcement. The son of Archangel Michael is the first player to enter a new city. The country of Vittersfall will receive a reward for this accomplishment since this is where the son of Archangel Michael is. Worldwide announcement, the Church of Light will scour the country of Vittersfall for Archangel Michael's son. Worldwide announcement, the Church of the Dark Ones will scour the country of Vittersfall for Archangel Michael's son. This doesn't change any of my plans. They won't be able to tell it's me unless they have someone strong enough to see all my stats. I open my player stats to see my new title and my EXP bar's new value. Slayer, Zirn, LVL.19. EXP, 16,180/21,000. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, Hidden, plus 2 more. Stats. Strength, 850. Endurance, 800. Dexterity, 805. Speed, 800. Focus, 2300. Mana, 23,000/23,000. Health, 6,600/6,600. Stat points, 120. Armor rating, 475. Inventory. Skills/perks. Inheritor of the Sword, passive, Son of Heaven, passive, Heaven's Light LVL.4325/400, active, Protected by Heaven LVL.4225/400, active, /LVL.10300/1000, active, Slayer of Evil, passive, Holy Willow Tree's Savior, passive, Parry LVL.180/100, active, Finder of Legends, passive, The Divine Who Has Legend, passive, Destined for Greatness, passive, Dungeon Diver, passive. I am only 4,820 EXP from becoming level 20. When I become level 20 I can view more information on creatures and people, but they can still hide or block me if they are strong enough. I continue walking down the streets of Eclipse as I am heading to the sacred trial grounds of Monrell. Monrell was a sword saint back in the days of the Warring States. He is regarded as the best swordsman of his time. He created these sacred trials to test any who be worthy of the sword. The reward is a legendary sword that he wielded. The trials have never been completed, until a player with a gamer tag called Pesticide came and beat the trials. He left a guide in the forums on how he beat it. Trials are incredibly hard to beat, most don't appear above the grade of very rare. I never heard of any trial being higher than epic, but I have the opportunity to beat one of the only epic trials ever known to the players of Ancient's world. The city of Eclipse is much larger than Blue Grass, it can hold up to 25 million occupants and it is very large. The trials are hidden from view in the monument to Sword Saint Monrell. I walk the long streets of Eclipse City and I make it to the park they have here. They preserved a part of the forest so people can come and relax here. It is also where the monument to Monreal is. I search the park and I come across a floating statue of Monrell. I look at the masterful armor that was carved from the stone and I can tell just from the statue he was a powerful man. I read the inscription on the monument for anyone to read. This monument is dedicated to Sword Saint Monrell for his incredible strength and courage in battle. Any who wish to take the trial of Monrell must give a drop of blood to prove your willingness to bleed. A fighter of Monrell's strength would demand such a small thing, while the implications are extreme. I now know where this is and I can come back to it later. I need to make sure that all my equipment is fully repaired and ready for a long battle. I exit the park and make my way to the commercial district. After searching for a while I find the blacksmith shop called Neil's Metal Works. I enter the shop and take a look around. There is some really good gear here, most of it is very rare and epic. This is a top-of-the-line shop. I approach the front counter and ring the bell. Be with you in just a minute. I hear a lady's voice call out from the back. After I wait for about 5 minutes I am greeted by a shorter redhead in blacksmith gear. How can I help you? She sounds pretty tired, probably from working the forge all day. I take out my swords and place them on the counter. I was wondering if you could repair these swords for me. She picks them up to inspect them. After checking the stats and seeing the durability I can tell that she is willing to repair them. She sets them back on the table and sighs. Yeah, I can repair them, but I am swamped at the moment. If you leave them here overnight I can have them done by morning tomorrow. This puts a dampener in my plans, but it's only one day. I should ask her if there are any known legendary blacksmiths even around on Gaia. I let her take the swords and place them behind the counter to work on later. I was wondering if you happen to know where any legendary blacksmiths are. She looks at me like I am an idiot. She starts to laugh hard and wipe some of the tears from her eyes. After she catches her breath she looks at me with red eye from laughing. Do you even know what you just asked? There hasn't been a legendary blacksmith in centuries. What could you possibly need from one? She talks to me in a very condescending tone. I sometimes can't stand people like this. Might as well show her instead of tell her. I take out the chunk of adamantine metal from my inventory and place it on the counter. She immediately shuts up and a smug smile crosses my face. This is why. I was hoping to find someone who can make a sword or armor piece from this for me. She is about to pick it up and inspect it some more, but I grab it fast and place it back in my inventory. She looks at me in annoyance. I can tell you that you will never find someone who can use that metal. It'd be best to sell it to me now to get it off your hands. This woman has no shame, does she? I shake my head in disapproval of her antics. I take out some gold and place it on the counter. Will this be enough to cover the repair costs? She takes the bag of gold and weighs it. It meets her standards and she nods her head. I head to the door about to leave, but she stops me. She is holding me by the collar. So are you going to sell me that adamantine metal or not? The gall on this girl is crazy. I shove her hand off and leave the blacksmith. I get that it's a unique metal, but if you can't use it then why want it at all? Since I can't do the trial today I might as well get off and hang out with my family till my swords are done. I head to the closest inn and pay for a room. Once I am laying on the bed I log off and hop out of my gaming pod. Chapter 32, The Trial of Monrell. I spent the rest of the day with my family while my stuff gets repaired. I went to bed later today since I didn't play Ancient's World. My alarm goes off at its typical time and I head downstairs to have breakfast with my family. I am not the first of the 3 siblings this time, however. Haley is sitting at the table getting talked to by Mom and Dad, and I can put together that it isn't good. Do you have any idea how worried we were last night? You didn't come home till an hour ago. We have been up all night waiting for you. Mom is the first to voice her anger. Haley believes since she is over 18 she has the ability to make her own choices. She doesn't understand that when you still live with your parents you still have to follow their rules. She was probably out last night partying or hooking up with some guy. I don't really want to bother asking to ask, so I pour myself some cereal and sit on the couch. I turn on the TV and put it on low so they can still talk. Mom, I'm not some teenager that can be told what she can and can't do anymore. I am allowed to make my own choices. It sounds just like the fights they had when I was a little younger and she was a teenager. I focus on the TV and listen to the reporter talk about the new guild hall that Red Sky has set up. The 12th ranked guild in the world has set up their guild hall. New features have been discovered about guild halls from the reports coming in from the players residing in Red Sky. Guild halls are an incredible tool for guilds. They can house up to 500,000 members per building. The best guilds have millions of members. Most of the top guilds have to make more than 5 guild halls in different cities and towns. Once sieges are implemented, the balance will be upset for a while. That isn't for a long time though. I continue to listen to the reporter as they talk about more news. Willow Tree is moving its top forces into the country Salamander. It is known that a lot of top guilds are going to this country for the roaming world boss. The players that have spawned in the country of Salamander's starting cities have given us more sightings, and we now know the name of the roaming world boss. So them actually found out its name. I never paid attention when this happened the first time around. I listen closely in case I remember anything from the future about this creature. Reports say the name of the creature is Retwick the lycanthrope. Not much is known about this creature, but there is a theory that this creature only has a certain amount of time till it turns back into a NC piece. That is a pretty good theory. I would make the same assumption about a lycanthrope as well. The NPCs who is transforming probably doesn't even know that it's a lycanthrope. I can hear the conversation behind me grow more intense. We don't even know what she is doing while she is out, Christian. She could end up pregnant for all we know. I can feel the paling of my dad's face without having to look back at them. He probably couldn't handle his princess getting knocked up. I am tired of her behavior, Chris. This is the last time she is doing this, or I am kicking her out. I feel some hurt in my heart at that. I know that Haley is causing you guys a lot of trouble with her attitude, but she is still family. I hear the small patter of feet come down the stairs and I can see that Marcus has finally woken up. What's with all the yelling? I look over my shoulder and see that he has just gotten out of bed. Mom goes into her mode as she picks up Marcus. I thought everything was fine now. Kid is smarter than people give him credit for. Mom give Haley and Dad a serious look. She never likes it when problems between Haley and her spread to the rest of the family. I take this time to finish drinking the milk in my bowl and heading to the kitchen to clean it and put it in the dishwasher to dry. I walk past the table as everyone is silent right now. Suddenly I am asked a question as I am about to start walking upstairs. What do you think, Sarah? Shouldn't I be allowed to make my own choices? I guess she is looking for anyone to be on her side since Dad isn't anymore. Mom, on the other hand, looks like she is about to explode. I turn around to face her as I release a sigh. Family problem require the whole family. I don't know what you want me to say, Haley. We have so many opportunities to do the things we never got to now that we have money, and I know that I intend to enjoy it. If you don't start listening to Mom and Dad, they will make sure you feel the pain. It may be a little harsh, but I have no other way to tell her what I think. I want you to be around when we start to enjoy our new life. Don't you want to be here too? She looks down and her blonde hair covers her face. She doesn't get that Mom is willing to throw her out on her ass if she doesn't do something about her high-risk behavior. I turn around and head upstairs. I don't want to deal with that anymore. I enter my room and hop into my gaming pod and load into Ancient's World. I open my eyes and see the same ceiling as I did last night before I logged off. I head downstairs and leave the inn and head straight to the blacksmith shop. I open it up and I am greeted by a bearded man who looks to be in his mid-30s. I approach the counter and lean against it with my forearms. I came in yesterday to get my 2 swords repaired. He looks me up and down as he smiles. I don't know why he is smiling, but if he tries to swindle me I will not hesitate to throw hands. He stands up and goes into the back. I hear some talking and the girl from yesterday comes out. Much faster than the other man. Have you given any thought about selling that adamantine metal? We can give you a great price for it. How about a hello first? Talk about a one-track mind, she will make a great blacksmith if she is so obsessed with minerals of high quality. All I do is sigh and I watch the man bring my swords and place them on the desk. I might as well make it clear I don't want to be bothered about this anymore. I don't want to sell it. I want it crafted into a sword or armor piece for me. She doesn't give the reaction that I was hoping for, instead she pulls out bags and bags of gold. She was about to speak again when I cut her off. I just said I don't want to sell it. I see no reason for you to have it since you can't use it either. I am better off hanging onto it till I find someone who can. Her pride looks very hurt after my last shutdown. She looks ready to explode, but before she can throw an insult my way the man beside her stops that from happening. Monday, he doesn't want to sell it. So leave the young man be and accept his answer. I stifle a laugh at her little nickname. Her face reddens slightly in embarrassment. It's clear he used her nickname to shut her up. Come back anytime you need repairs done or need new gear. I nod in acknowledgement of his words and leave the smith. As soon as I am out of the door I can hear the little girl Monday start yelling and cussing at who I assume is Neil. Now that I have everything ready gear-wise I should pick up some healing potions just to be safe. I walk a little further down the commercial district and find a mage's shop. I enter since it is the time things are usually open. Once inside I can feel magic power all throughout this place. Some who lives here is very strong. I make my way to the front desk and pick up the little bell and ring it. A lady with long black braided hair with flowers appears right in front of me. How can I help you, young man? She looks to be in her early 20s, but she is likely using potions and magic to stay and look young. Mages are capable of a lot of cool things here in Ancient's world and this lady is an example. Chapter 33, The Trial of Monrell 2. The lady seems nice enough, I can tell that she is a powerful mage. I want to inspect her stats, but I don't want to offend the woman who will be selling me life-saving supplies. I was hoping that I could possibly get some standard healing potions. She looks me up and down. She must not believe I can afford it. She is wearing elegant, but powerful gear that highlights her curves. Knowing that she is probably over 60 years old while only looking 20 is at the forefront of my mind. I don't want to even think about that. She frowns as if she could understand what was going through my head. You know I don't take too kindly to thoughts like that. I know she can't read my thoughts, if she could a system prompt would tell me something is happening. I keep a neutral face as to not show how right she was. I may not be able to read your thoughts, but I know when a man wants me or not. Comes with age apparently. I chuckle on the inside from her joke. She has a good sense of humor thankfully. I take out enough gold to get me 10 health potions that heal 40% of users' full health. It isn't the best healing potion, but there are plenty of bad ones. I hope this would cover the costs of the potions. She looks at the bag of gold as if it was fake. She picks it up and casts a few spells to check the authenticity of the coins. After several spells she looks at me with surprise. She sets the bag of gold on the counter and gives her full attention to me. Well, you have the gold, now why do you need them? I don't see how that is any of her business and I intend to keep my goals and objectives private matters. She can see that I am not giving her any information on what I plan on doing. She goes into the back to get the potions that I ordered. As I am waiting at the counter I hear the door behind me open and I turn to see what looks to be another player. Must be someone who chose Eclipse as their beginner city. The person is rather average in height, I have about 5 to 6 inches on whoever this person is. They come up to the counter as they pick up the little bell and ring it. Just a minute. She is clearly going to be longer than a minute. I look over to the player and they are hiding their face along with their information. I can only make so many assumptions about who this person is. I am not here to make friends though, it will be too big a risk if I am suddenly discovered. I can tell that my piercing stare is bothering whoever this is and is making them nervous. What do you want? I hear a feminine voice ask me about my crass behavior. I guess I'll have to talk to this person even if I don't want to. I stay silent and just let her stir in her own discomfort. This will give me a little bit of an advantage. Nothing that another player wouldn't assume about another. I hide my information just like you and everyone else does. So that leaves the question on why you are so defensive even though this is normal for unfamiliar players to behave like. You are either new or you have been betrayed too much to be comfortable. Her body slightly jerks at logic. I may have hit the nail on the head with that reaction. She turns her hood in my direction and I can make out elvish-like features. She must have chosen to be an archer or an assassin. She doesn't have a bow equipped, but that shouldn't exclude that possibility. Best guess at the moment is assassin, unless she is magic-oriented. I don't feel any recognizable magic power though. You're a smart one, aren't you, and you don't beat around the bush. You still haven't told me what you want. She must want a legitimate reason to my behavior. I don't really have a reason, I just like messing with another player who can't take at least a little bit of pressure. I sigh as I rub the back of my head. I was messing with you. I don't really have a want, it seems that the only reason we are talking right now is from how defensive you were when I only looked at you. She looks kind of mad after I say that. I don't know why it would make her mad. Not like we are ever going to see each other again. This girl obviously has problems and I have no reason to become involved with them. I hear the owner of this fine shop come out from the back with a sack filled with all the potions I need. She puts it on the counter in front of me and gives me an annoyed look. I paid her so she has no reason to complain. Thanks, hope this one is nicer to you than she was to me. I pick up the bag and put it in my inventory. I turn to leave, but I am stopped by the little elf player. She tries to turn me around to face her, but I am too high of a level for her to even move my body. She just growls and gets in front of me with an angry expression. I don't know what your deal is, but if I catch you outside of here and treat me like this again there will be consequences. I scoff at her remark and we can both hear a little laugh from the lady who owns the store. She must get the gap between our player levels. I just ignore her and walk out the door. She tries to stop me again for some reason, but I smack her hand away from me and I can see the shocked expression on her face. Along with the weakening of the body, guess I did some damage. I should really get started on the trial of Monrell and get that amazing reward. I make my way to the park and walk the curvy paths as I come to the same statue as before. I can see the same inscription as last time. I pull out one of my swords and prick the tip of my finger and let blood drip on the statue. I feel really bad about doing this to a tribute to someone, but there is no other way. Soon the statue glows and I am transported to an open field littered with corpses. I walk around for a while and come to a conclusion that it's just an illusion of some past event. I look up ahead and see a single warrior stand atop a pile of bodies. Looks like his previous elegant white armor is stained in crimson blood. I try to inspect the man and get the usual thing from powerful NPCs. You are not strong enough to view this NPC's information. The NPC has been waiting patiently for your arrival. The NPC now knows you are here. Whoever this NPC is, they are the master of this place. Taking a better look, this is the Sword Saint Monrell. His armor matches the statue outside. So you have come to be tested by my trial, have you? Nobody since the day I died has completed this trial. I am growing tired of remaining in this place to guide others. It really isn't Monrell, just a magical imprint from his mind. He is both alive and dead, the original him is died. This is just an echo, now all that's left is an intelligent recording. I walk up to the pile of bodies he stands on and I take in the view of the fields and mountains. I have come for the trial, but I do want to ask one question before I start. His helmeted head turns to look down at me. He stays silent for a moment and then nods, giving me permission to speak. Is it true that you hated combat? There were rumors in Monreal's lore that after so many years he grew very tired of fighting. The NPC is disturbed by your choice of question. The NPC is interested in the results that you will bring. He stops looking at me and looks forward again as he releases a deep and tired sigh. There was a time I enjoyed battle, but that was when I could challenge and be challenged. After so long I was left in an empty world with nothing except my titles. I can see that the best part of battle is fighting people stronger than you so you can become stronger. He made it to a point that only creatures of a higher life rating could kill him. He was the top of the human food chain. Chapter 34, The Trial of Monrell 3. I can understand Monreal's loneliness. I would feel alone in his position as well. I don't know the full history and lore of Sword Saint Monrell, but what I do know is that he was a prodigy with the sword. He came from a poor background and entered into Viddersful military. After he had access to all the training time needed, he started to pass his superiors in leaps and bounds. After he turned 30 is when he was given the title Sword Saint. The only people that didn't respect him were the people he passed on the way to the top. His legacy in the country of Viddersful has left its mark in the development of the country. If not for him, this country would have been absorbed by another long ago. He laid the foundations with his teachings and his techniques. The Viddersful military is feared because of it. I know exactly what to do to pass the trials. He uses this trial to test who is worth of his sword. The sword of Monrell is one of the best blade weapons in the game. Once I have it, I'll not need one to replace it. Too bad he doesn't give 2 legendary swords, I'll be mismatched for a long time. I should really get started on this trial. I may know what to do, but I don't know how long I'll take. I'm ready to start the trial. He doesn't look back down to me. The only thing that happens is the world disappears and I am floating in endless darkness. I then get a system notification that explains what is happening. The trial is being generated. You don't have a time limit on when you should complete this trial. However, the less time it takes, the better your score will be. I wait for the trial to generate and to begin the simulation. The goal in the trial of Monrell is fighting the 3 disciples of Monrell from weakest to strongest. Each fight is in a different location where the disciples gain their own reputations. It is said that all 3 of the disciples rivaled only half of Monrell when they went all out. I will be fighting Sir Vivens first. He was the weakest of the disciples, but he will still be hard to beat. The simulation will provide weaker versions so I have a chance. I don't know what level they were originally when they were alive, but I know that they pushed into the high 300s. The strategy that was used when I read the forums was to use Sir Vivens' armor against him. It is heavy and hard to move in. There is also a weak point in his armor. There is a gap between the back of his helmet and the top of his chest plate. When I get the opening to go for it, I'll be able to hit 100% critical over and over again. He will have the highest health out of the 3 thanks to his knight class. The time part of this trial is what worries me. I don't know the amount of time necessary to be rewarded Monreal's sword. All I can really do is guess. I bet that is the best reward possible. So that means I'll have to get the highest grade possible. Getting an S grade on your first try seems impossible, but I know all the weaknesses to the fighters. So I can get it, I'll just have to be extra careful. The world around me begins to transform into a giant coliseum. I look around and I can see that stands are full and people are cheering. This place must have been where Sir Viven came after his training was complete. He earned a king's fortune in the Colosseum in the city of Viddersful. The capital is said to be one of the most lucrative places this side of the continent. I am staring at the view box and see a beautiful princess with her family with her. This must be Princess Loa, she is the reason so many men were willing to die in the Colosseum. The champion that reigned for 400 days would win her hand in marriage. Sir Vivan ended up winning, but this is a simulation. So nothing changes when I win. I hear the crowd silence and the gates on the far side of the Colosseum open. I hear the heavy armor of Sir Vivan and the murmurs in the crowd continue. After a few seconds passed, I see the tall man come out from the gate and approach me. We look at each other as he holds his helmet before we fight. I will make your death quick and painless, you have my word. He is confident I'll give him that. I use this free time to inspect him. Sir Vivan's trial boss LVL 20. 500,000/500,000 HP. The simulation will begin in 10 seconds. I pull my blades out and get into a fighting stance. He won't be able to even hit me, let alone catch me. He is going to be having a hard time with that heavy armor. The counter is getting closer and closer to 0 and I watch Sir Vivan put his helmet on. That armor looks mighty heavy, Vivan. You may be fast compared to other knights, but I am a class you wouldn't believe. I can't read his facial expression since his helmet is covering his face now. He pulls his masterfully crafted sword out and gets into his own stance. The counter reaches 0 as the bell to start goes off. He charges very fast at me, but I dodge easily. I should test out this guy's armor just to see what I am dealing with. I hit him 3 times in a row with regular non-skill attacks. Sir Vivan's trail boss LVL 20. 500,000/500,000 HP. -19,300, blocked 18,000. -1,300, actual. -19,300, blocked 18,000. -1,300, actual. -19,300, blocked 18,000. -1,300, actual. This guy's armor is the real deal. He must be upset someone that looks weak actually caused some damage. He uses some of his own skill to try and land a hit on me, but I am just too fast. I dodge and weave through his masterful strikes and I can hear the words of encouragement for either of us. The crowd is pretty split every battle because of betting. You are a slippery little shit, aren't you? I guess he lost his honorable attitude from the start of this battle. I can see an opening for the spot that I want to attack and I use my slash skill on the weak point. I know that I am getting the 100% critical weak point bonus. Sir Vivan's trail boss LVL 20. 496,100/500,000 HP. -71,410. -71,410. -71,410. I knocked out almost half his health since his armor didn't help at all. Hitting an unarmored spot on a vital point sure does a lot of damage. He is probably pissed about that happening. He creates some distance between us. That really hurt you, Monrell. This dude might have bipolar disorder or something. Now that he is taking me seriously, I will have a way harder time getting another opening to hit him there. I charge forward trying to entice him into reckless battle. Sir Vivan's trail boss LVL 20. 281,870/500,000 HP. -19,300, blocked 18,000. -1,300, actual. -19,300, blocked 18,000. -1,300, actual. I hit him twice to try and get him to start unleashing haphazard strikes for an opening, but he doesn't fall for anything. He is using his extreme armor to his advantage and it's working. No, how can I get him to be reckless? I suddenly get a great idea on how to push him hard. I can't wait to have Princess Loa all to myself. I plan to use a soft bed and a hard touch with her. I can feel his rage at my words. Dude is pretty strong, but his mind is weak. Too bad his ego is as fragile as his valor. He charges me recklessly and tries to land a hit, but this is what I wanted. I activate slash and go for his weak point again. Sir Vivan's trail boss LVL 20. 281,870/500,000 HP. -71,410. Minus 71,410. Minus 71,410. He is looking pretty bad right now. Bad is leaking out of the small openings in his armor and I can hear him have labored breath. I feel kind of bad, good thing this is a simulation. He looks like he can barely stand anymore, let alone hold up his sword. I know what comes next and I know the answer too. Please spare his life. The beautiful princess is the one to yell into the Colosseum from the view box she is in. I look at her for a few seconds and give off a feeling of almost not doing it to seal the deal. The next to speak is her father. Young man, you have won this day. Don't break my daughter's heart. With the quiet Colosseum it is easier to hear them now. I look back to Sir Vivan and he is on his knees trying to catch his breath. I sheath my swords and the simulation everything pauses. I watch everything turn to darkness once again and I see a new system notification. You have passed the first challenge. Your time will be calculated in your final score. Now it's on to the next challenge, and I know that I am going to have a way harder time with this one than Sir Vivan. Chapter 35, The Trial of Monrell 4. I wait in the darkness as the next opponent and battlefield are being prepared. My next boss fight is the most hard-working of the three disciples and made a name for herself as a brilliant tactician. Her title was Strategy Master Vera. She led the armies against Vidurfal's enemies. Sword Saint Monrell became disgusted with the government of Vidurfal by the end of his time in the capital. They wanted him to solve all their problems and he began to resent their lack of growth despite how much he contributed to the country. He left the capital and his disciples since he could no longer tolerate the incompetence of the government. Ancient's world has its fill of legends and mysteries. The history has never been fully explored. It was estimated that the 5 years that players were exploring Ancient's world the player uncovered about 4.5% of the history and lore. I can say with confidence that most people don't understand that Ancient's world is something that will take hundreds of years to fully map and learn about. Lady Vera is said to have had a physical relationship with Monrell. She was a woman who liked powerful men and sought out things that were pleasurable. She became known as a harlot and homewrecker to the woman of Vidurfal. She was a woman of many colors back in her day, but all these stories are from a very long time ago. I have been waiting for quite a while for the system to create the next trial. The time spent here in the eternal darkness can be maddening. My best guess is the system is adjusting the difficulty since I did so well against Vivan. After waiting for about 25 more minutes the system finally decides to chime in. The next simulation will be generated in a moment. Please stand by while adjustments are being implemented. After a little bit of time a new place begins to emerge. I am by a river that is connected to an amazing waterfall. I look around the scene and I can tell this place is one of the most relaxing spots in the world. As my eyes wander I meet the gaze of another woman. She is quite beautiful, long blonde hair and toned body. She looks to be taking a rest by the river. If I didn't know of Lady Vera's history I would bet she was a pure maiden. When in fact she was the exact opposite. She looks me up and down in my plain leather-looking armor. I am glad that I can paste the look of other clothes on my hardened sap armor. What's a shrimp like you stalking me for? I have half the mind to kill you. I am almost 6'3" and she is calling me a shrimp, obviously trying to get into my head. I say nothing in response. Instead I just draw my two swords and prepare for battle. She looks mad at my lack of reaction and brings caution to her gentle face. Listen kid, today isn't a good day to die. Run back to your mommy and daddy before you get hurt. She is really bad at the trash talk. If you want to get into someone's head you have to make it personal and deep. I know just the thing to say to her too. It's the same thing I read on the forums. I must say that I would never say these words to another. However, the situation calls for it. Is that what you said to your little brother before you lopped his head off? I say these cruel words with a calm and even voice, totally devoid of emotion. She looks absolutely flabbergasted by what I just said. She stands up with a face red from anger. She pulls her sword from her sheath and gets into a stance. I start moving to my left and she mimics me. We are moving in a circular motion and measuring each other. Now is the perfect time to see what I am dealing with. I inspect her and get the bare bones of information. I can't wait till I am level 20, then I can see some real information about characters. The system pops up in front of my eyes and I can see her numbers are similar to Viven's. Lady Vera LVL.20 Trial Boss 380,000/380,000 HP. She doesn't have as much health as Viven because she isn't a knight class. She is a duelist. The class she has trained in for many years is one that specializes in fighting other blade-type weapon users. She will be the fastest opponent I have crossed blades with. If this wasn't a simulation, then she would be pushing really high levels. I am going to skin you alive for those words, kid. How dare you talk about something you could never understand? It's clear I am in her head now. She won't have complete focus on the fight. With her focus shattered, I can exploit her weakness. She has a degenerative muscle disease. She got it from all the unprotected intercourse she had. There is no cure for it, and at this stage her body is starting to fail her. She will have slowed reaction times and have a harder time keeping up. You could call it karma from all the marriages she has ruined. I wonder how the sickness in your body is doing. I bet you find it harder and harder to fight these days, don't you? She is around 28 in age from the looks of it. She got her titles and led her armies when she was around 22. At this point nobody should know about her disease except her and her doctor. I can see her confusion from my words. She obviously hasn't told anyone yet, and she is the only person that knows. She takes a couple steps back after my words and gets into a more cautious stance. You're a smart one, Vera. I know your weakness and we both know how detrimental it has been to you. She would be able to take on anyone at my level easily, but I am the son of Archangel Michael. I am no ordinary person. She doesn't look like she is going to be the first one to move. I get into my attack stance and prepare for my next moves. Her head is probably in a jumble right now, which will work in my favor. Her armor has way more weak points than Viven's, so I can get in some attacks that aren't blockable. She is a stunning beauty. Too bad I have to mess her up bad here. I use my normal attacks to test her reflexes, and I can say that I am disappointed. Lady Vera LVL.20 Trial Boss 380,000/380,000 HP. Minus 19,300. 19,300, block 7,000. 12,300, actual. Lady Vera dodged your third attack. I did some damage there. That was an exploratory attack to see where her disease is at. If she was in good health, then she would have dodged all my attacks. I can make this fight quick if I want to. She created distance between us and I can see she is taking this as serious as she can. She is distracted, however. I activate Heaven's Light and prepare my slash skill. I move in fast and unleash a volley of damage. Lady Vera LVL.20 Trial Boss 348,400/380,000 HP. Minus 98,188.75. Minus 99,974. Lady Vera dodged your third slash. I have done massive damage and she is looking bloody and beaten. She jumps back to get some space between us and catches her breath. What the hell are you? You are obviously not human. I still have plenty of time left with Heaven's Light, so I might as well humor her statement. I look at her and give her a small subtle smile. You're half right. Why don't you inspect my information to find your answer? I unhide my divine title just before she inspects me. You have given this NPC permission to view your hidden title. I watch her face morph in fear and instinct. If you really think about it, I am royalty in Overworld, but that isn't the point here. She now knows that I am something far more precious to beings of great power, and by default I have inherited much more power. She looks down in shame and drops her guard. She must think this is divine punishment or something. I am not one to judge a person on their life choices. She obviously never thought her actions wouldn't have consequences. She is already paying for them with her disease, no reason for me to add to her suffering. Instead, killing her would be a kindness, unless she protests. I always weigh my options and choices. Rushing into situations can lead to disaster, so I should ask her if she admits defeat. I will not kill you if you admit defeat. You can spend the rest of your years in silent suffering with the disease eating your muscles. She bites her lower lip and stands on her 2 feet. Guess she doesn't want to admit defeat, so that only leaves death. She prepares her guard and I activate / Lady Vera LVL.20 Trial Boss 150,237.25/380,000 HP -116,041.25. She looks ready to fall over and die after I hit her with that attack, but she is looking to fight to the bitter end. -110,685.5. After I hit her with that last attack and she stands there dead. She died on her feet like a warrior, her master would be proud. Her left arm falls off after a few seconds, she was using that arm to block some of my attacks. She falls face first with a hard thud. I take a deep breath and sheath my swords, the simulation pauses and everything goes back to darkness. I get a system notification just like last time. You have passed the second challenge. Your time will be calculated in your final score. Now I have to wait for the last of the disciples. He is Monrell's nephew, he is said to have been just as talented as his uncle when it came to blades. Soon he made a reputation for himself as well. I should really expect a challenge this time. I didn't think it would be so easy to get into Lady Vera's head like that. She may have died a brutal death, but she went out fighting like a warrior. It also helps that this is a simulation too. Chapter 36, The Trials of Monrell v. I wait in the darkness for the next boss and area to be generated. Now is the perfect time to plan out a strategy for taking the last disciple on. The name of the nephew is Florian, he learned everything that Monrell had to teach him. The only reason he doesn't have the same reputation as his uncle is because he committed regicide on the kingdom of Vidurfall. He was just as disgusted as his uncle was when it came to the incompetence of the government. Instead of leaving the capital like his uncle did, he killed the brainless King Joshua and usurped the throne. Joshua was thought by most to be an unfit ruler. He never left his castle and always expected someone else to solve all the kingdom's problems. Many wanted the man dead, but none were strong enough because his father, the previous king, declared any who go against his son will suffer the consequences. Nobody dared to challenge his words because he was a wielder of a legacy class called Wrath's Body. The son was supposed to inherit the class, but his father was too greedy and refused to give it up. After the toll from using the class took his life, the class died with him. Instead of notifying the public, Joshua lied to the people and said that he received the class and nobody should go against him. Florian was tired of seeing the failings of the country he was born in, so he challenged Joshua in single combat. Joshua refused and tried to weasel his way out of it, but soon people began to question his reluctance. He had no choice other to lock himself up in his castle. After a while Florian grew angry at the actions of Joshua. Florian decided to just break into the castle and face Joshua. He made his way through the castle and finished cutting through all the guards. When finally made it to Joshua, the weak king begged for his life and tried to explain to Florian what he was doing. At this point Florian was sick of these nobles and false kings running his homeland into the ground. He cut the head off of the begging Joshua. Once he usurped the throne, his first order was the purge of all the country's nobles. Florian didn't care if they were good or bad nobles, and as a result there was a civil war in Vidurfall. None of the nobles stood a chance against Florian. After 88 days of war, all the nobles had either fled the country or died in combat. Once Florian returned to the capital, he was hailed as a hero. He lifted the oppression caused by the greed of the old king's rule and began to rebuild the country at its foundations. He spent the remainder of his life bringing glory and prosperity to his kingdom. This was the most famous legend of Florian. There are more during his time as a ruler, but this one stuck to me to most. It's one of those situations where you have to do it yourself since nobody else will. It takes a special mind and will to act on such things. It's rumored that Florian left his class to find out there in the world. That's just legends though. Finding a weakness to Florian on my own would be impossible, but I have the answer from the forums I used to read. His armor causes a small blind spot. It will be hard to exploit, and I will have to be very careful on when I attack and defend. He will probably be even harder than when Pesticide did this himself. I am making too good of a time for it to take it easy on me in the final trial. After another 10 minutes I still hear nothing from the system indicating the start of anything. It must be crunching numbers and trying to make this really hard to win. I am probably being closely watched by the system as of late. I have accomplished many things in a short amount of time. It sucks that I won't earn any experience from this trial, but the reward far outweighs the non-EXP from this trial. All I know about the sword is its name. The Witness. It is an ancient sword and has been around for a very long time. There is only a handful of legendary swords in Ancient's world and this is considered the best for its inherent properties and lack of any drawbacks. Most weapons of extreme powers that come from legacy and higher items have penalties for using its power, but the Witness has no drawbacks. While I am thinking about the weapon I'll be getting, I finally hear the system call out to me. The final boss of the trial will be generated. The scene begins to change and I am brought to the throne room of a castle. I look around and I can see beautiful architecture and decorations. Most people would never get to see inside of the throne room of a castle. This is one of the most secure places you can be while in Ancient's world. I look ahead of me and see a young man around 24 on the throne. This must be Florian. I take the time to inspect him. I can help my surprise at the difficulty this has been scaled to. King Florian LVL 25 Trial Boss 700,000/700,000 HP. I watch him stand and walk down the steps from his seat. Once he reaches the bottom he stops and looks to me. He is wearing powerful looking armor along with a dangerous looking sword, that must be the infamous radiation blade. I don't want to get touched by that, it's a legacy sword made from radioactive metals. It will harm anything and everything that it touches except its wielder. The forums indicated that there was a debuff called irradiated that you can't remove till you die. So I'm going to do everything in my power to not get clipped by that blade. He walks a little closer and stops. I hear him take a small breath right before he starts to talk. I wonder how you got into the castle without alerting the guards or mages. It's safe to assume that you are strong. I must warn you, however, I am the strongest person in this kingdom. If you are here to kill me, then I am confident that I can win. He is much more well-mannered than Vivens or Vera, he also carries a lot of cautions in front of me. I don't know what the system is thinking, but it's clear it wants me to lose here. I step forward slightly and size him up. I am sure you are, but your uncle is in a different league. I am confident that you are not at his strength yet. I might as well try to get into his head. He loved his uncle dearly, but hated being in his shadow for the majority of his life. I see a slight twitch on his face. I did something to his mental fortitude. Florian will prove to be a tough cookie to crack when it comes to mind games. I probably can't get him to shift his focus, but I can get him overeager to prove me wrong. I watch him use some magic and a helmet materializes in his hand. He puts it on his head and prepares for battle. I guess he doesn't want to talk anymore. I draw my blades and get into a stance as well. There is incredible silence in this amazing room, we are just staring at each other waiting for the first move. I don't plan on rushing in and starting a heavy assault. I need to probe his defense and test his speed, he has a special class just like his uncle. I don't have any information on it except that it has powerful defensive abilities. Now the real fight begins and I have a feeling it's going to be the toughest one yet. Chapter 37, The Trials of Monrell 6. I am going to probe his defense with some normal attacks to see where his defense and speed is at. He has a perfect stance with no openings and I can't see a way to unleash powerful attacks while his guard is so good. I take slow steps forward, approaching with my swords, and his body tenses up. I suddenly rush hard and begin attacking fast and with fury. King Florian LVL 25 Trial Boss 700,000/700,000 HP. -19,300, parried. -0, actual. -19,300, parried. -0, actual. -19,300, parried. -0, actual. -19,300, parried. -0, actual. I can't break past his sword and parry skill. He certainly has serious defense, just like the forums said. I have spent enough time attacking, and he is not going to be someone I can beat with skills and mind games alone. This is going to be a battle of attrition. I could use Protected by Heaven, but I may not be able to defeat him before the time runs out. I should only use it after I whittle down his health enough. The parry skill he has will prove to be a problem as well. If he has a high skill level with parry, then he can block more blade attacks than I can. It would also mean that it cools down faster and he can use it more often. I guess the system really wants me to lose this battle. I'm really glad that I had the foresight to purchase healing potions. I will most certainly be using them in this fight. This is probably more difficult than when Pesticide did this trial and completed it. The weakness is going to be a hard thing to exploit as well, but if I can do it, it will make this battle easier. As I am thinking up a game plan, Florian takes the time to test my defense and skills as well. I am faster than he is, since he is wearing heavier armor than I am. He uses some pretty impressive sword skills as well. I recognize most of them, and I can tell he has one of my favorites from my time in the future. Feint Blade is a great skill to trick enemies into a more deadly situation. When you are against an opponent using it, the best thing to do is to create some distance so you won't get fooled. I jump away from him and make distance between us. He has way more active skills than I do. He has a combat and defense advantage. I hate to say it, but the only advantage I have is my class. I hate using my class as a crutch, but I have nothing to break the defense of this man. The only way to exploit his weakness is to get past that defense. I have to test how many attacks in a row he can parry. I charge forward and begin to attack with normal attacks to see how many times he can use parry. King Florian LVL 25 Trial Boss 700,000/700,000 HP. -19,300, parried. -0, actual. 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 -19,300. I sneak in 19,300 damage on my 6th attack. So that tells me he can only use parry 5 times in a row before he needs to wait to use it again. I can tell by his posture that his pride is a little hurt that a no-name person came and did even a speck of damage to him. He isn't losing his cool like Vivan though. I guess you know more about my abilities than I know about yours. You are talented, I can see why you have the confidence to fight me head-on like this. He wants a conversation now. I will not engage in talks. It's more than likely a way to drop my guard and get in some killing blows. I may be powerful, but he can still kill me fast. He lunges at me with my lack of response. -9,000, dodged. -0, actual. -9,000, dodged. -0, actual. -9,000, dodged. -0, actual. -9,000, dodged. -0, actual. I quickly dodge his fast attacks and create more distance between us. He looks like he wants to continue his assault, but stops after I land a good distance away from him. He was smart to do so. I would have been able to retaliate with strong attacks since I have a speed advantage. It's a good thing I wasn't touched by the radiation blade. I would be in a deadly debuff state at the moment. If I want to reach that blind spot I need to get him exhausted and tired, but his endurance is probably his best stat. I find it annoying that this battle has come down to has more patiences. I intend to win this battle though, so even if it takes days I'll be sure to plan every move carefully. I charge in fast with the intent to do some actual damage this time since I know how many times he can parry an attack now. I ready my attacks and begin my assault. King Florian LVL 25 Trial Boss 680,700/700,000 HP -19,300, parried. -0, actual. 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 Now that his parry skill is in a cooldown state, I activate my slash skill to deal some real damage. -35,705. -35,705. -35,705. I don't let up on my attacks, I have him reeling from the surprising strength of my skills and damage output. With my slash skill on cooldown for a few seconds I switch to normal attacks. -19,300. -19,300. -19,300. -19,300. -19,300, parried. -0, actual. I pull away now that his parry skill is back. I can feel his animosity towards me now that I have done some incredible damage. I took a big chunk out of his total health pool. I know that he will be even more on guard and will start to actively harm and balance the damage done in this fight. I watch him take a stance, it seems like he is about to activate a powerful skill. I inspect his health to see how I should plan my next moves. King Florian LVL 25 Trial Boss 496,385/700,000. I watch his armor glow in a bluish hue, if I had to guess I'd say that is the skill Rook's support. It raises both attack power and speed along with his defense rating. He is looking to hurt me now, that damn blade is going to cause some serious problems here in a minute. The only way to remove the debuff is to either die or cure it. Lucky I still have that permanent healing buff from the Holy Willow Tree. The passive perk will heal me more than the radiation can do damage. There is no way I can avoid damage this battle. I am having to really lean on my amazing skills and perks. This is truly a fight I am not supposed to win if I didn't know his weakness. He charges me and begins to unleash powerful attacks and feints in hopes of damaging me. -13,000, dodged. -0, actual. -13,000, dodged. -0, actual. -13,000, dodged. -0, actual. I jump away very far. If I stayed within his blade's range I was surely going to get hit. He looks in my direction and takes his stance again. Who the hell are you? I'd never seen someone so gifted other than my uncle. He must be wondering how I can even go toe-to-toe with him. I won't answer any questions or humor his curiosity. I am 100% focused on winning, and with him asking me questions and talking to me I can deduce he is not in the same mindset I am in. He is no longer focused like before. That advantage is now mine. Chapter 38, The Trials of Monrell 7. This fight is turning to the more cautious side and I see Florian looking to deal some damage now. My last attack did a real number on him. This is the most damage he has taken from someone other than his uncle. The other disciples had weaknesses I could exploit right at the start, getting to that blind spot is going to be harder than I'd like to admit. I might be able to beat him if I can land more powerful strikes. He won't allow that though, he will be using a lot of his powerful defensive skills now that he knows I am capable of killing him. We circle each other waiting for the next move to be made. I want to go in for the attack, but I will more than likely get hit by that blade. He may never push for an attack because his defense is so good. They say ambition is the enemy of success, and I want that legendary sword so much. Just waiting here is killing me slowly. Florian isn't as eager as I am to win this fight, he is more focused on finding a weakness. If he really paid attention he could see I don't have a single defense skill other than protected by heaven. I can only use it once a day as well. He might suspect something, but he can't confirm it unless he lands attacks. My armor will absorb most of the base damage and my healing buff will keep me alive. This is looking more like a balanced fight since he is off his game now. His focus isn't where it should be and I can use that to get into that blind spot. As we circle one another he prepare to launch an attack. My patience has paid off and now I can also perform some counter attacks. 13,000, dodged. 0, actual. 13,000, dodged. 0, actual. 13,000, blocked 11,000. 2,000, actual. You have gained a radiation debuff. You will lose 50 health every minute. You will heal 400 health a minute. Your healing buff is strong enough to negate the effects of radiation damage. Radiation debuff removed. Well, that is an amazing surprise. He still did a lot of damage though. Holy Willow Tree's Savior is more than just a healing perk. Sometimes unique perks have hidden effects that are kept from the players and they don't even know it. Now I know I have a passive perk that removes certain debuffs. I can't say that it removes all of them at this point, but this is a really nice find. I'm lucky with this little surprise because he could have stacked radiation debuffs on me. This changes the direction I can take in this fight. More and more this tips in my favor. I jump away and check my status, my health is already rising thanks to that perk. Slayer, Zirn, LVL.19. EXP, 16,180/21,000. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, hidden, +2 more. Stats. Strength, 850. Endurance, 800. Dexterity, 805. Speed, 800. Focus, 2300. Mana, 23,000/23,000. Health, 5,735/6,600. Stat points, 120. Armor rating, 475. Inventory. Skills/perks. Inheritor of the Sword, passive, Son of Heaven, passive, Heaven's Light LVL.4325/400, active, Protected by Heaven LVL.4225/300, active, /LVL.10300/1000, active, Slayer of Evil, passive, Holy Willow Tree's Savior, passive, Parry LVL.180/100, active, Finder of Legends, passive, The Divine Who Has Legend, passive, Destined for Greatness, passive, Dungeon Diver, passive. Florian is looking at me in frustration and confusion. I would be too if a powerful debuff like radiation didn't work on someone either. He is putting it together in his head pretty fast though. My fast closing wound is evidence of that. You have some sort of healing and debuff removal ability. I have never seen something stop my radiation blade. He is a quick thinker too. He is going to have to use more active skills now that he has confirmed some of my powerful abilities. I want to attack more openly now that his special debuff doesn't work on me. I charge forward and use normal attacks so he uses up his parry skill. King Florian LVL 25 Trial Boss 496,385/700,000. 19,300, parried. 0, actual. 19,300, parried. -0, actual. -19,300, parried. -0, actual. -19,300, parried. -0, actual. -19,300, parried. -0, actual. Now that his parry skill is on cooldown, I attack again with slash. I am succeeding in whittling down his health. This battle is now in my favor. -35,705. -35,705. 35,705, block 25,000. -10,705, actual. My last slash attack is cut down by a lot, but I still did sizable damage to him. I go in for some normal attacks. I get hit with something I didn't plan for. -19,300, countered. -9,650, reflected, block 7,000. You have gained a radiation debuff. Your healing buff is strong enough to negate the effects of radiation damage. Radiation debuff removed. He uses a favorite among most high-level players, but we don't get access to this skill till level 130. The damage he dealt with that nearly killed me. I should say the damage I dealt, my armor saved my life with it blocking the reflected damage. I have created space between us and I immediately check on my health. He won't attack since I did some decent damage and he is recovering too. Slayer, Zirn, LVL.19. EXP, 16,180/21,000. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, hidden, +2 more. Stats. Strength, 850. Endurance, 800. Dexterity, 805. Speed, 800. Focus, 2300. Mana, 23,000/23,000. Health, 3,995/6,600. Stat points, 120. Armor rating, 475. Inventory. Skills/perks. Inheritor of the Sword, passive, Son of Heaven, passive, Heaven's Light LVL.4325/400, active, Protected by Heaven LVL.4225/300, active, /LVL.10300/1000, active, Slayer of Evil, passive, Holy Willow Tree's Savior, passive, Parry LVL.180/100, active, Finder of Legends, passive, The Divine Who Has Legend, passive, Destined for Greatness, passive, Dungeon Diver, passive. I am now just above half health, my healing perk is already working magic. I should have dealt enough damage to him with that last attack. I can finish him off with Protected by Heaven and Heaven's Light. One of the unique features about Heaven's Light is the attacks used with it can't be interrupted and can't be blocked. That means counter won't work either. I charge forward while activating my skills and begin my assault with slash. Let's just say he wasn't expecting the powerful aura and light show. King Florian LVL 25 Trial Boss 414,270/700,000. -105,329.75. -121,397. -110,685.5. He is looking near death at this point. He jumps back and stands for a few seconds before kneeling on one knee and taking heavy and deep breaths. You aren't human. No mortal creature so young can achieve such power. He isn't wrong. I am only 19 years old, he must think I am some powerful monster in disguise or something. I really do want to finish this off and my slash cooldown just ended. Time to end this. King Florian LVL 25 Trial Boss 76,857.75/700,000. -107,115. I dash forward and slash at his neck. I didn't get a critical because it was an armored vital point. It's more than enough damage to end his life and this simulation though. The falling head freezes in place and everything fades to black once again. I hear the system begin speaking. I am happy at what I hear. You have completed the trial of Sword Saint Monrell. Your time will now be calculated for a reward and evaluation. You have earned S+++. The reward will now be drastically increased. That's the highest grade I have ever heard of. I did make great time now that I think about it. Too bad I can't earn experience from trials. You can't earn experience while in a simulation since the things you are fighting don't really exist. Soon the endless darkness turns back to the field I met Monrell in. I look over to the pile of bodies and he is actually looking at me instead of into the far-off distance. I walk up to him and as I approach the pile of bodies he removes his helmet. I look at the pristine face of the man. So it's true he never sustained an injury to the face. I never thought I'd see the day this trial completed. Come up here and talk with me, there is much to discuss. He must want to talk to someone before this place is destroyed now that the trial is completed. I walk up the pile of bodies and stand next to him looking out into the beautiful view. Outside of the simulation a worldwide announcement is happening. These have become rarer for other people besides Sarah to receive. This one is unsurprisingly also about the son of Archangel Michael. Worldwide announcement, the son of Archangel Michael is the first and only person to clear the trial of Sword Saint Monrell on the first try with the best possible score. The Almighty Father and Archangel Michael have decided to celebrate by giving everyone a 2x EXP to use at any time. World Mission Announcement, the Church of Light are sending emissaries and soldiers en masse to the monument of Sword Saint Monrell to meet the son of Archangel Michael. World Mission Announcement, the Church of the Dark Ones have drastically increased their rewards for any harm done to the son of Archangel Michael. Many of the players and NPCs cheer in the happiness of the EXP buff. The NPCs learn a different way than the players do. It is unknown how they gain strength without the system, but they have their own mysterious ways. The outside world is also in uproar, a very minuscule amount is known about trials. Only that they are incredibly difficult and take multiple tries. That wasn't the case for Sarah and many are going to increase their search for this player. Don't worry, I know what you are all thinking and all I can say is that isn't happening yet. Chapter 39, Q&A for all my readers. I have been contemplating re-uploading chapters for my fanfiction. If I do, it will cut the chapters I release for this story in half. I have thought about 3 chapters a week for my fanfiction and 4 for Ancient's World. I won't do this until I get some responses from you guys. My fanfiction holds a special place in my heart and I don't want to keep it on hiatus. Chapter 40, Legendary Reward. I have been going back into past chapters changing 2 of the skill duration times. Let me know if I need to change the times for Heaven's Light and Protected by Heaven to 10 minutes instead of 2 minutes, because that's what I did for the chapter called the Divine Class. The new stats and skills from his rewards might seem overpowered to all of you, but I have to remind you that NPCs like Grandmaster Magician Wilmer has 14 billion health. In the face of levels like that the new damage output is extremely low. Thanks for reading. I will take Saturdays and Sundays off from writing Ancient's World. I want to use this time to improve plot and edit my storybook. I am doing this to improve the quality of the story and make it better. I really hope this doesn't anger to many of you. This is something that will take the plot and characters to another level. Monrell is a person of strong character and even stronger techniques. Now that I have completed his trial I'm being rewarded. He wants to talk to me about something first though, this was never written in the forums so I have no idea what's about to happen. I watched your battles with my disciples and I'm surprised you did so well, especially against Florian. You were exploiting all their weaknesses except for Florian's. Where did you learn all this information? He doesn't know about the existence of the players and their unique presence. I could just lie and say I studied all of them before I got here. I have a better response though, one that he will like. I take a breath and release a deep and tired sigh as I rub the back of my head. I knew Vivan was like an impenetrable fortress, but his armor is imperfect in its design. I seen the opening in his armor after his first attack. Monrell looks at me with impressed features on his face. I continue telling my methods for everyone I faced. Lady Vera was the easiest out of the three. She was being crippled by her disease and could no longer fight at the level she once had. Monrell looks down in slight shame at the mention of Vera. She really did turn out wrong. She also paid the price for her actions with the diseases she got. Florian was the hardest. I could notice a blind spot produced by his armor. I couldn't exploit it without getting hit by that powerful blade. Turned out I had nothing to worry about. One of my perks was strong enough to negate the ability of the blade. That allowed me to attack without worry. He laughs at my explanation of how I defeated Florian. Most people who took the trials wouldn't get past Viven. I did something that never happened before and completed one of most difficult known trials of Ancient's World on my first try. I am sure there are ones that are even harder out there, but they have yet to be discovered. He finishes laughing and turns to me. I would have offered you a legendary class, but you have one that is much better than what I can offer. Mind if I ask who you are and what your class is? He must want a reason to explain my incredible powers and out of the normal strength for someone my age. I can't see a reason not to tell him. He is not alive anymore and this will be the last time a fragment of his consciousness stays on this realm. I look off into the distance and prepare my answer. I'm half angel. My father is Archangel Michael, my class is called the Son of Archangel Michael. I have a human mother that goes by Amelia Zirn. I go by Slayer Zirn. I didn't know about my bloodline or my powers till I met her. I saved her from some thugs while walking by her orphanage. My life changed after that day. I stick to the lore of the class and play the role of Michael's son. I turn my head back and look at the slightly shocked look of Monrell. He might be having the same thoughts as others of high positions do. It's not every day that you meet someone of my lineage and family. That answers my question about your power. I think you will surpass everything I can think of in a few years' time. So that means I can entrust you with something. I don't know what is happening right now. The forum said that you would receive the legendary sword after you left the trial area, so that means this must have never happened to Pesticide when he completed this. I want to leave my technique legacy to you. Florian was always a great student, but he was too much like me. I wanted someone different to have my final gift to this world I love so much. Wow, an actual technique legacy. These are the most sought skills from every player that plays this game. Technique legacies are when people or creatures of incredible power give you knowledge about their most infamous and powerful skills. These shaped the top spots players occupied in the world. I was already certain I would be within the top players. This pretty much guarantees I am the strongest. I'm glad I get a choice on which the players and NPCs see between my player name or my title. I would be honored to have your technique legacy, Monrell. However, I must admit I do feel shame taking this. Feels like I am taking more power when I already have enough. This feeling is true too. Sometimes you can't help the feeling of wrongness when you get something you don't think you deserve. I suddenly get a system notification that is kind of funny and unexpected. They really are watching me. The Almighty Father and your father are proud of your humility and apprehension to take power. Plus 15,000 reputation with all beings in Overworld. I chuckle to myself as I read the message. Monrell looks at me a little confused. I open my player tab and make it visible to him and I show it to him. He sees the message and has a different reaction than I did. He gives a subtle grin and closes his eyes as he leans back. I guess most who are as strong as him would react like that. He gets his bearings straight and begins to talk again. I don't have much time left, so I will impart my techniques to you. They will help you in your journey and whatever you may face. He puts his hands together and begins creating a ball of blue and white light. Once he is done, I get a system notification again. Sword Saint Monrell wishes to impart his teachings upon you. Do you wish to accept his technique legacy? Y/N. I think yes, and the ball explodes in brilliant light. The knowledge of his skills comes to me as if they are my own. After the light fades, I look at an exhausted Monrell and I look into his tired eyes. He looks like he wants to say one last thing before he goes, and I am sent back to Ancient's world. I will place you in a cave outside the city of Zedder. This way you won't be pursued once you leave this place. I forgot about that, there had to have been a world announcement while I was in here. I give Monrell a silent nod of gratitude as I am picked up by a mysterious power and taken from this place. I land flat on my ass in the cave, light shines through the entrance and I hear a weird sound outside of the cave that's hard to describe. I stand up and walk out of the cave and look out into the vast plains and out into the city of Zedder. Zedder is one of the more popular cities in Vittersfall and it's far from Eclipse. I will have to go through that place again once I go to my capital city for my tier-up quest. I look down the hill and notice a beautifully crafted sword that has elegant engravings and masterful design. It's about 3/4 my length and I am 6'2", it's a sword that draws attention. https://www.pinterest.com/pin/5642870282845432229/ This is what the sword looks like. All credit to this design goes to Lockhart Tactical. I walk up to it and pull it out of the ground. Once I do, I am filled with power and I notice how unbelievably light it is. I do some practice swings and I can already feel a bond growing with this sword. Some swords have a property that allows you to bond with it and gain more power and move better with it. I inspect its information and I am overcome with happiness, almost to where I cry. The Witness. Description: a legendary sword that has been around since before recorded history. All the greatest and most influential people have wielded this blade. Empires have risen and fallen to, and for, this blade. It has been held by kings, queens, emperors, and empresses, along with sword saints of unparalleled power and recognition. The Witness is the strongest and most powerful of the one-handed swords on Gaia. There is no blade better to wield. More information will be revealed once you tier up. Quality: legendary. Durability: infinite. Damage: 8000. Unique properties: has a very high chance to dismember limbs instantly. Has a very high chance to cause curse of decomposition. Description: areas attacked by curse of decomposition will rot away till it's cured or target dies. Will always cause critical hit upon vital points struck. Will always ignore armor and defense ratings. This sword will gain more power every time you tier up. There is no required level to wield this blade. The Witness resonates with your angelic blood. Plus 5000 focus. This item wishes to bind with you. Will you allow the Witness to bind to you? Y/N. I think yes, and I feel an incredible bond being created between us. I don't know why it would resonate with my angel blood and powers. Not all the information is available to me, so perhaps more about this blade will explain that. I know for certain that I will be able to kill much stronger opponents now. I won't have any trouble getting to level 50. My damage is going to be insane now as well. My calculations indicate that by adding Dead's Bane 650 damage and the Witness's 8000 damage together, I get 8650 damage altogether since I am dual wielding. Then I add the flat 8500 from my strength stat and I get 17150. Then you multiply by 2x since I am dual wielding and that causes double damage, and I now get 34,300 damage from just my normal attacks. Now it's time to see the new skills I learned from Monrell's Technique Legacy. I go to my skills section and see 2 new skills that are going to make it hard to defeat me. Kingslayer, active. Description: not even kings stand a chance. 350% to all outgoing attacks for 10 minutes. Can't be upgraded. 10,000 mana required for activation. Cooldown 24 hours. Raging Machine, active. Description: nothing will stop you from winning. All outgoing attacks are increased by 500% and all incoming attacks are turned into health for 10 minutes. Can't be upgraded. 17,000 mana required. Cooldown 48 hours. I open my stat panel to see where my stats are at now. Slayer, Zirn, LVL.19. EXP, 16180/21000. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, hidden, plus 2 more. Stats. Strength, 850. Endurance, 800. Dexterity, 805. Speed, 800. Focus, 7300. Mana, 73,000/73,000. Health, 6,600/6,600. Stat points, 120. Armor rating, 475. Inventory. Skills/perks. Inheritor of the Sword, passive, Son of Heaven, passive, Heaven's Light LVL.4325/400, active, Protected by Heaven LVL.4225/400, active, /LVL.10300/1000, active, Slayer of Evil, passive, Holy Willow Tree's Savior, passive, Parry LVL.180/100, active, Finder of Legends, passive, The Divine Who Has Legend, passive, Destined for Greatness, passive, Dungeon Diver, passive, King Slayer, active, Raging Machine, active. Now that I have completed the trial of Monrell just like I wanted, it's time to go find the hermit and talk to him. I'm making great progress on my skills and power. My level hasn't moved in a while though, and most top players have probably passed me by a few levels by now. The quests I get from the hermit will fix that though.